In this video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about how to stay in a caloric surplus every day and maintain that caloric surplus all the time and stay consistent and just ensure that you're in that bracket every single day, that surplus, getting above what you usually need to eat to stay at the same weight in order to gain weight, because that's what you want to do, right? And I feel like this is a really important topic to talk about because it is very hard to stay in a surplus, and it can be mentally and physically challenging, right? It is very hard to eat more than your body actually needs, okay? So I'm going to go through 5 ways that you can ensure to stay in a caloric surplus every day and make it a lot easier for you, and you're going to be more efficient with it, more productive with it, and you're going to find the whole bulking and surplus and gaining weight process a whole lot easier. So before I get into this video, I just want to introduce myself really quickly to you guys if you don't know who I am. So my name is Ryan. I'm from a 19-year-old from the UK, and I've undergone a physical and mental transformation over the past 3 years, 3.5 years, sorry, transforming myself from this in 2021 to now looking like this in 2024. And I'm on a mission to help skinny young men who struggle to gain weight, struggle to gain muscle, and struggle to find success in the gym, to help them sculpt their physiques and to find success in their fitness journey. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So first of all, we've got to recap what a caloric surplus is, right? There's no point in you watching if you don't know what a caloric surplus is. So basically, what a caloric surplus refers to is where you eat more in a day than your body actually needs. You eat in excess to what your body actually needs. And now, what do I mean by this? So, for example, if you had to eat 2,000 calories a day in order to stay at the same weight, so if you ate 2,000 calories in a day, you'd maintain your body weight, right, for a while. But if you ate in a little bit in excess to that, so for example, 2,250 to 2,350 calories, then you gain weight because you're in a surplus and you're eating more than what your body needs to stay at the same weight. Therefore, the inevitable is going to happen. You're going to gain weight, right? So that's what a caloric surplus is. You eat more than what your body needs in order to gain weight, and it goes with eating. And it goes the same. And it's the same principle if you eat less than your body needs. So if you eat more than what your body needs, you're going to lose weight. But if you eat less than what your body needs, you're going to lose weight. So it works both ways, right? So I hope that I hope it makes sense to you. If it doesn't, then just try and make it make sense, right? Because I don't really know how else to put it, and you need to know what it is to carry on with this video and understand what I'm talking about. So now you guys know what that is. I'm going to go into the first way you are going to make sure and ensure you're staying in a caloric surplus a lot easier, and that is to leverage liquid calories and to leverage caloric dense foods. And I've talked about this in a couple of videos before, but I just want to go over it again because this is literally a cheat code and a hack if you struggle to eat a lot and to consume a lot and you don't have an appetite and you just can't stay in a surplus, right? Leveraging liquid calories in caloric dense foods is really important because first of all, so we got liquid calories, and liquid calories you drink them, right? And liquid calories are also known as invisible calories, which I've also been through. And this basically means that when you consume them, you don't really feel full and they're less filling, and you're still going to have a little bit more of an appetite afterwards. Therefore, you can carry on eating food. Therefore, you're more likely to hit that surplus, stay in that surplus bracket and get into that bracket, right? So liquid calories are something you should really leverage. And what I would highly suggest for you guys to leverage is, oh dear, sorry. Sorry. What I would highly suggest for you guys to leverage is mass gainer protein shakes. So, protein powder that contains a lot of protein and it contains a lot of carbohydrates and fats as well, which is going to help you. It's going to help you get those calories in. But one thing you need to make sure you're not doing is actually taking the piss with it. You don't want to be, obviously you want to leverage liquid calories, but you've got to try and keep them healthy, because if you're just putting oil and all of this shit into your protein shakes and your whatever you drink, right, then those calories are just going to contribute to gaining more fat. And remember what the whole aim of the bulk is about. You want to gain as much muscle as possible and minimize the amount of fat you gain. So it's so important that you try and keep it as healthy as you can. So stick to your mass gainer protein shakes and have a banana, have some milk, have some oats if you want, and that should do you perfectly fine. Don't go near that oil stuff, because yeah, it's more calories, right? You'll be in that surplus, but there's more efficient ways to do it. And as I said, you don't want to gain fat. So just stay away from that sort of stuff. But yeah, leveraging liquid calories is so important. And now onto caloric dense foods. And if you don't know what a caloric dense meal is, It's basically when calories are jam packed in a meal and the portion of the food is slightly smaller. So higher calories, lower portion size, and this is obviously really efficient because you're going to consume more calories, and as the portion size is smaller, you're still going to have a little bit of an appetite and you're not really going to feel as full. Therefore you can carry on eating more, and the likelihood of you hitting that surplus is going to be a lot higher. Just like the liquid calories, it doesn't really fill you up, and in this case, because the portion size is smaller. And skinny young men tend to have fast metabolisms, and I've talked about this in a previous video as well. And basically what a fast metabolism refers to is you burn calories a lot easier, whether you're doing physical activity or whether you're even resting. You just burn calories, right? So it is very hard for skinny young men to gain weight, and I completely understand that, and I have been there myself at the start, and you know, that's natural, right? You're not meant to know all of this stuff, and that is why I'm giving it to you guys, so you can get ahead of the game and take advantage of it whilst you can, right? So it's so important you actually take this information in and you don't take it for granted and you take advantages. But anyway, so back to the caloric dense foods. So skinny young men tend to have fast metabolisms where you burn calories fast during activity and rest, as I said. Therefore, having these caloric dense foods will help so much because it's, you know, it's a lot harder for skinny young men to get in a surplus if they have a fast metabolism, because you've got to remember, you know, if skinny young men can expend more energy than you know, they consume, then it's going to be very hard for them to gain weight, right? So it's so important that you take advantage of liquid calories and caloric dense foods. And for example, a caloric dense meal, a really good one I would say is what would I say a good caloric dense meal is? I like to have pasta and meatballs on the bulk. I really like that. It may not be as small, it'll still be a little bit of a portion size, but it's very highly calorific. And obviously, you're going to get your protein, your good protein in the meatballs, and you're going to get your carbohydrates from the pasta. And if you have some cheese, that's your fats right there. So that's a perfect caloric dense meal, in my opinion, you guys should be taking advantage of whilst having a lot on the bulk. So yeah, take notes, people. So yeah, that's the first thing. Leverage liquid calories and caloric dense foods. Now, onto that sounds really weird to say that. Now, onto the second thing that you're going to leverage and take advantage of in order to, you know, stay in a caloric surplus every day, is to have a schedule and a plan or plan in advance, right? And this is so important because, as someone once said, a goal without a plan is just a wish. You need to know how you're going to get there, right? If you want to say, if you got a goal to bulk up or gain 10 kilos, how are you going to do that, right? If you don't know how you're going to do that and you don't lay out a plan in order to help you achieve that, then it's going to be a lot harder for you to get there, right? So it's so important that you have a schedule. So for example, in terms of this, I mean a schedule in terms of when you're going to eat your breakfast every day, meal or when, you know, meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, meal 4, meal 5. When are you going to eat these meals? Set times in the day, and you're going to reprogram your body, and that's because if you stay consistent with this, then your body's going to know. It's naturally going to know that you're meant to eat soon. So you're actually going to help build up your appetite as well, because you're going to be hungry, because you know you usually eat around this time. So your body's going to reprogram, and it's going to think, oh, I'm meant to be hungry now. So you actually build up a little bit of an appetite, which will definitely help you consume your food. So having a schedule and having a plan is so important. And if you don't have these things, you're going to feel lost. You're going to feel confused, and doubt is going to creep in. And it's going to be like, so if you don't have a plan, or, you know, if you don't know what foods you're going to eat, and if you don't even so if you don't have a schedule or a plan, you're going to feel lost, confused, doubt's going to creep in, and you're going to end up not being bothered, right? If you haven't got a schedule, or if you haven't got a plan for where you're going to eat at breakfast, lunch and dinner, or what times, right, the chances of you sort of skipping the meals are going to be very high, because you know, life without plan can be chaos, as I said. So it's so important that you have a schedule and you have a plan. And I'll give you an example off the top of my head. So when I was bulking, I was eating breakfast. I was probably eating breakfast around 7 a.m. and then I had meal 2 around 10 a.m. probably, and then meal 3 I had probably around 1 to 2 ish, and then meal 4 just before I went to the gym when I was training later, so probably around 4, and then meal 5 was my dinner, and I never really had a meal 6, but some, you know, if I had a dessert, that's what I count that as meal 6. And just remember, these meals don't have to be absolutely huge, right? Meal 4, which is my pre-workout meal, which I was going on about, I only had like 1 wrap, Like, it doesn't have to be a huge meal compared to my breakfast, which is 6 eggs, 2 bits of toast and salmon on top, right? You don't have to have big meals each time. It's just making sure you schedule when you're going to eat throughout the day is so important, and that is going to help you get towards your goal. Because remember the quote, a goal without a plan is just a wish. So you've got to know how you're going to strive, and you know you've got to pave your path towards achieving this goal, right? Because otherwise, if you don't pave your path, then you know how are you going to get there. So just think of it like that, and that is the second thing you're going to leverage. So have a schedule and have a plan, and plan in advance if you want to. Now onto the third way that you're going to maintain a surplus every day, and you're going to get so much more efficient with it, is find out how your body actually responds to consuming calories in different ways, and see what you prefer, right? And this is really important because everyone is different, and that may sound really obvious to you, but I don't think you know what that means. Everyone has different preferences in everything in life, right? Exercises which you prefer. You know, people like foods that you may not like. People may like exercises that you may not like. People may like a job and a profession that you may not like. Everyone is different, and everyone has different preferences, and everyone has different ways of doing things. One person might like to study how they like, and you may not like that method because another method works for you, but that method doesn't work for them. So everyone is different, everyone has different preferences, so it's so important that you find your preference, and you find what works for you the best, okay? So, and it literally applies to eating food, and that may sound stupid, but it literally does. So you've got to find out how you consume calories the best. So the main ways I've got out, the main two ways that I've got of consuming calories that I've written out is, so you either have very few meals a day, and you have really big filling meals only like twice or maybe 3 times a day at the absolute max. One of my mates, when he was bulking, or when we were bulking, he was eating, I remember he told me once he ate 2 meals in a day and it added up to 3.5k calories. God knows how, right? But you know, that's a way he prefers to bulk, and he's gained weight, so it's worked for him, right? So he prefers to eat very few meals in a day. But if you can't do that, and if you can't eat big portions, split it out. You know, have 5 meals. Have meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, meal 4, meal 5. Schedule them and plan them, and they may not be as big. They may be some smaller portions, which they will be because you're eating 5 meals, right? Spread them out, and if that works for you, that works for you. But if consuming fewer meals works for you, then it works for you. You got to try. You got to experiment, because without experimenting, you can't gain experience, and experience is one thing that is so valuable in life. Okay. Oh, my dog's barking. I'm very sorry. The dogs in my street are having a bark off, and yeah, it's a regular occurrence throughout the day. So, okay. Oh, I thought they stopped. All right. Anyways, so I'm going to move on to the fourth thing that you're going to leverage and that you're going to take advantage of in order to stay in a surplus every day. And that is to progressively overload. And you may be thinking, what do you mean progressive overload, mate? You're just waffling now. You're chatting shit, mate. I'm not, okay? You've got to hear me out, right? So, I know you think of progressive overload in terms of increasing the weight, or like the bench press, for example, or increasing the intensity of your exercises. But I'm talking about progressively overloading food, right? Think about it like this. You can't start day one on the bulk and eat 6 eggs straight away. You can't start day one on the bulk and eat what you'd eat in peak bulk and what you can consume in peak bulk. It won't work like that. It's like trying to bench 100 kilos without benching 80 first. You just can't do it. You can't eat 6 eggs without you can't try and eat. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is, if you try and eat 6 eggs without finishing a portion of 4 eggs, then that's just not going to work, right? You've got to slowly build it up. And as I was saying with my example earlier, if you try and bench 100 kilos without benching 80 kilos first, how do you think that's going to go? It's going to go tits up for you. So you've got to slowly work on it. So start by eating like 3 eggs and 1 bit of toast, right? And yeah, you've got to gradually increase the portion sizes so your body adapts to consuming more, because it's like anything, right? When you're it's literally like training. You don't start straight away lifting really heavy weights. You start really light because you're not physically capable of it. And then when your body gets used to it, and when your body adapts to lifting weight, you're going to grow muscles and you're going to get stronger, therefore you can lift heavy weight. It's the exact same with food. If you start out by eating a large pizza, when you've never really consumed a small pizza before, then how do you think that's going to go? You got to consume a small pizza before you move on to the large pizza. And I'm not saying consume pizzas because they're shit foods, right? But I'm just saying an example, okay? So I'll give you an example of progressively overloading and perfectly progressively overloading a meal and how I've done it before. So on my last bulk, when I started on day one, I I went from eating, so the bulk before that I was eating around 5 eggs and a bit of toast, right? And then I cut down, I lost 8 kilos and I was eating not much at all. And then on day one of the bulk, I didn't go back to eating 5 eggs straight away. I built it up. I started with 3 eggs and one bit of toast. Sorry. I started with 3 eggs and one bit of toast. And then I either went to, and then you either go to, for example, 4 eggs and one bit of toast, or 3 eggs and two bits of toast. You see what I'm trying to get at? So it's all about slowly, progressively overloading. And as stupid as it sounds that I'm talking about progressive overload with food, it's, it's quite true, right? You can put it in another way, but I just thought it'd be more interesting to put it as progressively overloading, right? So that's the fourth way, and that's the fourth thing you're going to take advantage of. Slowly increasing the portion sizes so your body adapts, and you're going to be able to eat enough food over time, and you're going to be in a surplus consistently over time. Now, onto the final thing. Number 5 is tracking your calories, okay? And at the start, this is so important because you don't know what's what. You don't really have a rough, you're not good at estimating how many calories are in a pizza, for example, or how many calories are in a portion of chicken and rice. But obviously, the more experience you get, the more you can estimate them. But I would still highly suggest you track your calories even then. And this is because it helps ensure and guarantee that you actually hit your surplus, right? If you don't track your foods, right, you could be way off of what you may think you've eaten 3,000 calories in a day, which is what you need to grow, but you've actually eaten 2,600, so you're actually in a deficit. It's really easy to underestimate how much you eat, and it can be very humbling. So you need to make sure that you're tracking your food if you're struggling with gaining weight. And if you're not seeing that number go up on the scale, don't expect it to go up straight away. But over time, if you're staying at the same weight or even losing weight a little bit, then you have to track your food. It's an absolute must. And I would highly suggest stuff like MyFitnessPal, apps like MyFitnessPal, and there's plenty of others that track your food. So it's so important that you track your food. And yeah, as I said, use an app such as MyFitnessPal. And the other benefit of it is, right, so as I said, you may not know how much you've eaten throughout the day. If it gets to 9 p.m. and you check your MyFitnessPal and you've still got 450 calories left, you can bung a protein shake down you in like 20 minutes and then you hit your surplus. Whereas if you don't track your food, then you might not know that, and you'll probably be in a deficit, right? You're missing out on them extra 450 calories and the extra protein that you need in order to grow, in order to be in a surplus. So it's so important that you track your caloric intake because it really identifies the little things and it makes a huge difference at the end of the day. So that is the end of this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed and truly learned something about how to stay in a surplus every day, and I really hope you're embracing this information and this knowledge and this wisdom that I'm imparting with you guys, because it will help you so much. And I really wish I had all of this at the start, because otherwise I'd be like twice as big. Okay, so if you have enjoyed, please leave a like, a comment and a subscription. It would mean a lot to me, so you can stay around to learn more from me, and so the algorithm can recommend me to you more, so yeah, you can learn from me. So without further ado, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.